Hey guys, welcome back. We have a new week of energy to get into. We continue to make our way through this year's Aquarius season. However, energy does shift this week. We are getting out of this more like high-strung, hypercharged energy that we've been in as a result of all the Aquarian, Uranian influences that we've had going on out there. And the sun enters Pisces, joining Mercury in Pisces, Saturn, Neptune, and the North Node also in the sign of Pisces this week. And we are really like starting to be more heavily weighted in the Piscean energy as we wane out of our Aquarius cycle over this next couple of weeks now that we have had our full moon in Leo. So we've got some vibe shifts that are happening this week, Tuesday specifically. Monday, as we get the week started, this could be a bit of a tricky day. We have very strong black moon energy going on as the moon in Libra conjuncts the black moon, and then the moon enters Scorpio and squares Pluto in Aquarius, while the sun is at 29 degrees of the sign of Aquarius. So there could be kind of some like intensity or some more just like anxiety or upheaval, maybe some of these shadow side issues being triggered, fears, worries, insecurities, doubts. You may just not be in your most happy-go-lucky place on Monday. However, as we move through the day and into the energy of Tuesday, the sun enters Pisces, the moon continues to move through Scorpio, and the vibe should definitely shift. This should bring in a bit of a softer and maybe like calmer energy. Things should calm down, simmer down a little bit. And it is a very emotional energy though that we are going to have going on throughout the majority of our week this week, while the moon transits Scorpio and forms a trine to all of these planets that we now have in the sign of Pisces. So we've got a lot to talk about, you guys. Things are shifting and changing this week, and I'm here to let you know what it's all about. So let's get into our report of the day, put it all together, see where we're at as we get this week started and where we are going as we move through this energy. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, February 17th, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We will do that at the end. We are starting, of course, with the astrology. As I mentioned in my intro, we have reached a point of shifting vibes this week. It should be a pretty like palpable energetic shift. Things should calm down. Of course, this Aquarius season that we have been moving through has been very charged up. Things may have felt like it was just one thing after another, like electricity in the air, things happening at lightning speed, like no chill. That is the shift I think that is primarily going to be taking place this week, going from like everything feeling very keyed up to things like calming down a little bit. Now, mind you, we are still in Aquarius season. Even after the sun enters the sign of Pisces, we're technically in Aquarius season until the new moon in Pisces comes up in the end of February. But we have crossed through the midpoint of that cycle as of the full moon in Leo that took place last week, and we have crossed through these squares to Uranus that the planets were making as they transited through the sign of Aquarius as well, which was sort of just like energizing and electrifying things even more. And the shock factor should be kind of behind us now that, especially come Tuesday, and we start being weighted energetically more heavily in this Piscean energy. Now, mind you, we already had Mercury enter the sign of Pisces, and we have had Saturn, Neptune, and the North Node also in the sign of Pisces. This Pisces season, I think, is going to be a very active, like busy time because of all the planetary energy that this sign is holding and encapsulating right now. Planets in Pisces are also going to be forming a trine to Mars, who is about to station direct next week, which is going to be making this time quite active as well, I think. And while yes, things are calming down a bit, softening out a bit, you know, slowing down, as I said, like chilling out generally a little bit in terms of just the general frazzled nature of everything out there. I don't think that the kind of like strangeness factor that has been accompanying all of this is going anywhere. In fact, I do think things may become like increasingly otherworldly as we move forward in this period of time. I think that it may actually become more difficult to discern like truth from illusion, like reality from fantasy, fact from fiction, what is actually real and what is not as we move forward. Because honestly, it could be like reality is stranger than fiction. Like the things that are happening are like so hard to believe that, you know, it's hard to believe. We're not really sure what to believe because it's like the reality that seems to be presenting itself is like, seems so unlikely, especially in the context maybe of how things have always been. But a lot of it actually is going to be real. And that is another thing that is really, I think, going to be maybe messing with people's minds over this period of time, bringing up a lot of questions, a lot of doubts. And with this Mars influence that is going to be so strong throughout the course of our Pisces season because of Mars's station and also Mars's in trine to these Pisces planets, water sign trine, there could, Mars energy can manifest kind of two ways when we're dealing with emotions. It can be, you know, the external manifestation in terms of like anger, you know, not knowing how to react and so being angry about it, or it can also be internalized in the form of depression. I think that kind of like fits of anger and fits of rage driven by an inability to like process or understand or control certain emotions perhaps, on one hand, and on the other hand maybe sort of like a kind of existential depression that a lot of people are struggling with as a result of like the breakdown of the paradigm. And that's what this is likely to introduce to us, you guys. I feel like this is going to be a very transitional period of time, and I think that a lot of the ways that things have been, we are going to kind of collectively realize are or have changed. And it's going to be an acknowledgement that this change is the progression, you know, of the future, the way that things are unfolding, and they're not going to go back to the way they were before. I think this is going to be a very transitional period of time. Again, it's going to be a very emotional period of time. On one hand, you know, people are going to be very fired up to fight for what they believe in, and you can trust and believe that with this Mars trine coming in, trining the Piscean planets, all about beliefs. But again, on the other hand, really like questioning everything that we thought that we did know and that we did believe, and that was sort of like the structure and the foundation of the reality and the paradigm that we thought was our world. Could be really messing with some people. I do think that like mental health issues, and again, something that I've been kind of talking about, and I think this is going to be a reoccurring theme throughout the course of this Pisces season that we are moving towards. And not only that, really over the course of this next year and a half or so, as the North Node continues to transit through Pisces, escapism by way also of like drugs, alcohol, and suicide, that could be just like more of a pull as we move through this energy, because it's kind of just one of the ways that this energy can manifest. And there's tons of ways that this energy can manifest. Of course, spiritual growth, spiritual experiences, spiritual phenomenon that go on that kind of like put us on a spiritual path. That could also be the way that this goes. Piscean energy, it's about disconnecting though. Like it's about disconnecting from the reality, rationality, logic, clarity, really having a very clear and specific idea of what's going on and like the timeline or the linear path to get there. That is not what this time is about. This is also a time that is like weighted very heavily in the basket of like trusting your gut and following your intuition, listening to your higher self. And that really kicks off in the energy of Tuesday this week as we have the sun enter Pisces. We got Mercury in Pisces and the moon in Scorpio. You know, that is like really being in touch with a deeper nature of our feelings, our intuition, our gut instinct is going to be forming a trine to Mercury in Pisces, which is, you know, the mind. There is a real strong ability to listen to and receive intuitive guidance that comes from very like deep place within us, or even, you know, more so connected to our higher selves as we hit the energy of Tuesday and begin to move stronger into this Piscean energy. But the anxiety, the tension, the rapidly changing nature of things and events and circumstances and relationships that we have been moving through over this past couple of weeks, I do think is going to kind of like temper out after Monday as we move into the energy of Tuesday. Monday is kind of a tricky day. Monday, we are coming in with some very strong black moon energy. The black moon is moving through the sign of Libra, actually nearing the end of the 9-month transit through the sign of Libra. We're going to be having some new black moon energy coming up here in this next couple of weeks. But for now, the moon is still transiting, or the black moon is still transiting the sign of Libra. The black moon is activated essentially twice a month when the moon moves through the sign where the black moon is located and the sign opposing the black moon. So with the black moon in Libra right now, when the moon is in Libra and when the moon is in Aries, that's really when we have this more active black moon energy, because the black moon works in polarities. So conjunctions and oppositions are what really tend to trigger this energy, and the black moon does rule our triggers, and it does trigger our shadow side issues, fears, worries, insecurities, and doubts. And in the sign of Libra, it has a lot to do with fears of rejection, not being accepted, not be fitting in, not being perfect, being kind of like afraid to be seen for who we really are, or being afraid to like rock the boat or to disturb the peace in any type of a way, and to be alone, also to be on one's own. This can be, again, like outcast from the group. This can be kind of just like, and also things to do with what's fair and what's not fair, what's balanced and what's not balanced. Like reciprocity can be themes that can come up in the context of these darker emotions that have a tendency of being triggered when we got black moon energy. But I also say, and like, I feel like the black moon energy, when we have these triggers and activations happening, it's because it's trying to give us an opportunity to gain a deeper awareness, really, of our own shadow side issues. It's like the couple of times each month when we have the opportunity to glimpse those shadows through what is being triggered, how we're reacting, you know, and just how it's messing with our lives and stuff like that. Like we have an opportunity to actually like gain a conscious awareness of that, which is usually held within our unconscious and, you know, or our subconscious, and really therefore is playing quite a powerful role in our lives. What we don't see, what we don't know is going on within us, generally as a result of unhealed wounds, unprocessed emotions, like traumas that we've never resolved, that we've just kind of glossed over and kept it moving. They create like the subconscious programming and these defense mechanisms, essentially, that on one hand is like our own psyche's way of protecting us and keeping us safe, but on another hand can be very self-sabotaging and very limiting in terms of the actual growth of our soul in alignment with like our true higher path and evolution in this lifetime. Okay, so it's very important that we are able to gain an awareness of what it is that, you know, is going on in regards to our shadow side, or in regards to these like unhealed or unresolved issues within us, because gaining that awareness really is what unlocks a greater level of power within us to become more conscious over the path that we're walking, over the creation or co-creation of our own reality. So that's sort of like my spiel about the black moon. Depending on what sign it's transiting, gives us an opportunity to gain an awareness of a dimension, perhaps, of the shadow side of our own nature, and therefore kind of like unlock another level of power or healing, or, you know, just reprogramming how we do various areas of our our lives in a much more conscious way. So we've got that being activated. And, you know, whenever, a lot of times, right, the way that we gain that awareness is through having to go through these more just darker experiences or more painful experiences that kind of like open our eyes. So that could be something that we're dealing with, just feeling triggered, maybe emotions, fears, worries, insecurities, doubts in the energy opening the week on Monday. And then right after that, actually, we have some more kind of difficult emotional energy as the moon leaves Libra but enters the sign of Scorpio and begins forming a square to Pluto in Aquarius. And mind you, also the sun is at 29 degrees of the sign of Aquarius on Monday, which is like a critical degree of that sign. So it could be more of this kind of just high-strung, uncomfortable, maybe intense energy interactions, confrontations, and they could be bringing out a bit of the worst in people because of this black moon energy that we've got going on as well. So we do have, between the moon conjuncting the black moon and then the moon squaring Pluto, Lord of the Underworld, on Monday, we do just kind of have more of this like darker energy going on. Things may not be looking so bright and merry as we start the week, but don't fret, you guys. As I said, as we move through the day on Monday, head towards the evening, prepare to move into Tuesday, we definitely have some vibe shifts coming in, and things should like just calm down a little bit. We should be feeling maybe a bit less high strung. The intensity level should dip, I would say, a bit. And we should be able to like if you've been having, you know, a hard time sleeping over the course of the past several days, throughout the past week or so, that should end as we hit the energy of Tuesday, okay? And we get more into this Piscean energy, because remember, Neptune and Pisces, this is also the dream world. Sleep energy levels could feel quite low, to be honest with you, come Tuesday, moving through this next couple weeks. Like, you may just feel drained. You may feel like you just need to get more sleep, get more rest. Like, no matter how much sleep you get, it might not feel like enough. With Mars in a water sign about to go direct and forming these planets in the sign of Pisces, this is kind of like a drain on energy levels. And with so much Piscean energy right now, you may find that you're just not feeling the most like upbeat and active as we move through this next couple weeks. It is kind of like a crash, and I mean, I don't mean like a literal crash, but it's like, you know, we've been on a very high, like, or a peak, like an energetic peak. Things have been very, very charged up, keyed up energetically. Like, again, like this electricity in the air, voltage turned all the way up, everything like lit, just turned all the way up over the course of this past couple weeks. As this Piscean energy comes in, it should be like a dip, and you may feel it. Like, this is the back end, right, of that like high that we've been on. So you might feel like you have just not been able to catch up with yourself, not been able to catch your breath. Like, it's just been one thing after another, like all this, again, like high speed, fast paced change going on, pulled in all varying directions. And as we hit the energy of this week, you may just feel like it's all catching up to you, okay? And like, you just need to like calm it down, or I don't know, take a time out or something like that. It's kind of the vibe. Okay, it is going to be a very probably emotional energy, as I mentioned earlier, though, especially, you know, this week with the moon transiting through the sign of Scorpio, forming a trine to these Piscean planets. You may feel like you got a bit of a hard time just holding it in. There could be just like emotions flowing out, especially on Tuesday, the moon in Scorpio trining Mercury in Pisces. A lot of people could be talking about their feelings, how things have made them feel, talking about their beliefs as well. There could be some very deep conversations that are happening this week about spiritual topics or belief systems, or the ways that our beliefs are changing and shifting, or things that have like really moved people. But I would expect the way that people are feeling to be the primary topic of conversation, at least in the energy of Tuesday. As I was mentioning earlier as well, logic, reason, facts, like this is not the vibe right now. You know, be very, very careful with the nature of information. Don't believe everything that like people are saying or that you're reading or what people are telling you. The line is very, very, very blurry right now between what is real and what is not. It's almost like, it feels like almost like a free-for-all in terms of the information that's out there, and it's like your best guess as to like which part is true and which part is like pure fabrication. Be careful trusting people. Like, this is Mercury in the sign of Pisces can be a more deceptive energy. This is not, Mercury's in detriment in the sign of Pisces. Like, this is not the pinnacle of like clear, honest, straightforward mental energy, but it is very creative, it is very intuitive, it is very inspired. It's also very good at like connecting dots and like perceiving patterns. It's a very like abstract, non-linear way of thinking. But again, like the intuitive factor of things is very, very strong. And the energy of Tuesday with that Scorpio moon as well, like if you have an intuitive urge, like if there's a gut instinct, if you just feel like, you know, you heard something whispered in your ear, there's a good chance, you know, that there is value in that. It's a very psychic influence, very spiritual influence. And again, as we continue to move through this Pisces season, strange spiritual phenomena, like otherworldly stuff going on, like spiritual experiences that are really unexplainable but paradigm shifting or life changing, or that really like break down your previous conceptions or like cause a shift in belief systems for some reason. This just seems to be the way that energy and reality are presenting, okay? And so intuition is going to be a powerful guide for us as we move into the energy of Tuesday throughout this next couple weeks, moving into Pisces season and throughout Pisces season. And intuition, feelings, and emotions are also going to be the primary motivation in terms of what is happening, how people are acting. A lot of people are just going to be acting based on, you know, feelings. Again, this like the rational component, the logic behind things is quite void in terms of just like how we are mentally geared and oriented while we move through this next couple of weeks. A lot of people are probably going to be avoiding reality as well. Like in this same regard, that's another dimension of how this energy can function. Avoidance, neglect, abandonment. You know, as I was talking about earlier, this whole like drugs and alcohol and suicide red flag tendency in this energy could be coming up as a, like in the context of this escapism that this energy can also provoke, dissociation and unwillingness to face the truth about things, just wanting to escape, avoid, get out, like not have to interface with the reality. That could also be a way that this energy kind of manifests or surfaces. Cognitive dissonance as a result of that as well, like literally not an unwillingness to accept what the reality seems to be presenting right in front of us. People kind of just like sticking their head into the sand. Mental breakdowns and mental health conditions, as I mentioned earlier, could also be something that people are struggling with more so as we move through this period of time. This detachment from reality, both for better, you know, in the spiritual context, a lot of people having spiritual awakenings, going through like a sudden spiritual growth process or phase or something, or just becoming much more spiritually oriented for some reason. And on the flip side of that, you know, people wanting to dissociate from reality and the physical world through other means that are, you know, maybe not so positive or productive, okay? Many significant transitions, though, I do think are going to occur throughout this period of time. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. This is the 12th house. It also, you know, matches up with the 12th house. It's about ending some cycle, and that's why a lot of times Piscean energy seeks to detach and escape and disassociate from the reality, because that's really what it does. It's the bridge between, you know, it's the end of one cycle that transitions us into a rebirth. It's when things fall away, disintegrate. Like, it may feel as though the solid foundation or the ground under your feet is just kind of crumbling. as we move through this period of time. And I mean that more so in the context of a metaphor for the stability that our like paradigm has really been built or resting upon. Telling you guys, I think that we are moving through a phase right now which is going to see some massive foundational and systemic changes take place sort of from the ground up. We are of course also going through a shift of ages right now, and it's going to become more and more recognizable in the physical 3D reality as we move forward through this year and into next year as well. And I think that just generally this Pisces phase of time that we're moving through right now. And also remember, the North Node is in the sign of Pisces also in a conjunction to Neptune. This is, on one hand, well, I've been talking about this entire year and a half while the North Node's transiting through the sign of Pisces. This is a time of spiritual growth, but in the conjunction to Neptune, also in the sign of Pisces right now. What did I say? Like, Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac. It's about the end of a cycle. Pisces is ruled by the planet Neptune. This is breaking down. We are transitioning into the age of Aquarius, but we are transitioning out of the age of Pisces. Like, I really think this is severing ties with the paradigm that we have been in historically over the course of the past 2,000 years that we've been moving through this Pisces cycle. I think that we are in a lot of ways like cutting the cord from that reality as we, after this Aquarius season that we've moved through, and as we move through this Pisces season and prepare to move towards Aries season, it's going to be very transitional, and I think it's going to become more and more apparent now and moving forward over this next couple of weeks that things have changed and things do not work the same way as they used to, and they are not going to be working the same way as they used to going forward. This trine that we've had going on between Mars and Saturn, which we will actually have again after Mars stations direct, it will come and form the exact trine to Saturn again. I've been talking about this energy over this past couple weeks. That to me is also indicating that the way that things work generally is kind of like reorienting itself actually over this past couple of months as Mars has been going retrograde, and it will continue on as Mars stations direct and continues to move through the sign of Cancer. So I think that this week is probably actually going to be the maybe most chill week of the energy that we've got coming up over this next couple of weeks. Once we get into the energy of next week, Mars will station direct. Mars, like I said, is also going to be in a trine with these water sign planets that are transiting through Pisces, and there are a lot of them, so we're going to be having a lot of Mars trines that are happening. You know, they are trines, right? They're not squares, so this is a good thing, but trines also create kind of like an opportunity for like unrestrained or uncontrolled flows of energy. And when we're talking about Mars energy, this is just a lot of heat. Like, this could really be bringing things to a bit of a boiling point, I would say, as we move through this month. And again, emotions are going to be driving a lot of what is playing out here. Like, the emotional energy is going to be the whole motive to act, okay, especially as we move into next week and then moving through our Pisces season this year. So we could see or feel some kind of aggressive or hostile energy that is building as we hit the end of this week and begin to move into next week. And you know, again, for better or worse, like passions, motivating action, and just people doing things because of maybe some powerful feelings that are driving them forward. So things are going to heat up, you guys, come next week. But this week we are in this more kind of like, it's a little bit of like an in-between space, maybe a little bit like a void. Maybe if you are feeling a bit more energetically drained this week, just give yourself some rest, give yourself an opportunity to take a break. Again, like, get more sleep if you need it. This energy does require more downtime, I would say, generally. And again, this is sort of like the back end of that super peak energy that we've had going on over this past couple of weeks. So this is the come down phase, you guys. I was talking about that in my last video, I think, as well. how energy is just kind of like falling off a cliff a little bit this week, but not for the worst. We just need maybe some like recovery time. And again, I would urge you to take it and don't get too like, if you just patently like don't understand what's going on right now, like can't wrap your head around things, like just feel like everything is bizarre and you're not sure what to believe, don't feel like you have to settle on anything. That's just kind of the nature of stuff right now. Skepticism, but also an open mind. We're going to find out that a lot of things that we never thought possible have in fact been going on the whole time, and that a lot of things that we thought were the reality in fact were never real. Like it's gonna be that type of thing, which obviously is probably going to be disorienting. And this energy is notorious for like confusion, lack of clarity, delusion, and give yourself, as I was saying in my last video also, giving ourselves a little bit of grace as we move through this is probably a beneficial strategy. So that's really what I have to say, you guys, for the energy as we hit the week this week. Again, Monday is maybe caught or dominated by some of these darker feelings. There could be some power struggles or some confrontations going on. You may not just feel like things are super bright or looking up as we hit the energy of Monday, but there is probably going to be something that shifts or changes, or just a release or an easing of tension somehow. Maybe you just like get a good night's sleep and when you wake up you're feeling a lot better about things or something like that. As we hit the energy of Tuesday and things are, again, I think just kind of get very strange, get very weird, very like incoherent, non-linear. I don't know, it'll be very interesting to see what comes up with all of this. But they are calming down, so there's that. Now, in terms of the tarot message that we've got going on today, this is another weird message. There could be some mental conflict going on. Again, like, things may not be clear. Like maybe we don't understand what is actually happening. Everything may seem a bit out of sorts or upside down, or making us question everything, bringing up a lot of doubts. And maybe our own thinking, maybe our own ability, maybe our own judgment. Like we really could be questioning our judgment about things, our thoughts about things, if what we're doing is the right thing. Look at this message that we've got going on. Okay, we've got so many reversals in the cards. We've got the King of Swords in reverse. That's general lack of clarity, misunderstanding, not seeing things clearly. It can also be like false pretenses, or it can be straight up deception as well. But we've also got the Empress in reverse, and we've also got the Judgment card in reverse, and then we had the Five of Swords on top of that. To me, this is like a clear indication of like, not sure if we can trust our judgment, like not sure, like these conflicting thoughts, okay, mental conflict going on as a result perhaps of questioning what it is that we're creating, if we're understanding things clearly, if our judgment is on point. There could just be something that is for some reason introducing a level of confusion into what we thought we were doing, where we thought we were going, what we thought was happening. Even on the back of the deck, we had the Page of Cups in reverse, the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, the Knight of Swords in reverse. This could also be like as a result of someone coming and telling you something that doesn't make sense and confuses you somehow. The Page of Cups, this is like an offer or an opportunity, or I mean, the Page of Cups also is just like a little bit weird. Like somebody he's got a fish in his cup, you know what I mean? Like that's just a little like not something that you see every day. And with it in reverse, like it could be, or it could be a lack of information, or just like a lack of understanding. Like maybe nobody's getting back to you and you don't know what's going on, and you thought one thing was happening but you're not hearing, so you don't know, and it's just like kind of suspended, and maybe you weren't understanding it properly the first time, or maybe you're questioning your judgment now because you thought someone was saying something, but it was something else. Also with the Knight of Swords in reverse, with the King of Swords in reverse and the Knight of Swords in reverse, this could also be like people going back on their word. Like somebody offered you something, or somebody told you something, or somebody said something was a certain way or was true, and then like come to find out like, no, actually that never was, or like taking back the offer. Remember, we've also had this energy energy about like pulling out, divesting, like cutting ourselves free from commitments and stuff like that. And that's also, you know, the 10 of Pentacles. It's weird because it's like the Empress and the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. That would be like what we're building, what we're creating, what we're manifesting, and like the abundance or the comfort associated with it. It's like questioning the state of the world or the reality that we thought we were building or we thought we were creating. It could be projects and partnerships and stuff like that ongoing as well. I don't know. But then we've also got the Hermit, okay, upright. So intuition, seeking illumination from within, like maybe closing ourselves off from some of the confusion and just getting right with our own like gut instincts again, or searching for the truth internally as opposed to like this external, I don't even know what it is. It feels very confusing. Like it feels like I thought one thing was happening, but for some reason, I don't know if it's because of the lack of communication. I don't know if it's because of some like faulty communication or because of something that was said that was not expected. I don't know exactly what it is, but it just seems like things are not straightforward, things are not clear, things are not being followed through on in the manner that we were anticipating. And as a result of that, maybe we're questioning a lot of things, a lot of doubts are coming up, you know, though, and then the mental conflict being represented by the Five of Swords. But we do have the Hermit. And the Hermit asks us to seek illumination from within, internally, not externally. So I don't know, you guys, perhaps that is the answer. If you find yourself questioning everything, maybe there's just a need to kind of like shut out all of that and have a deep contemplation or union with spirit and a higher power, gaining illumination as well with all of this Piscean energy. That is, as I said, and I will continue to say, with the North Node in the sign of Pisces, this is a period of time, you know, higher octaves. It is about spiritual growth, gaining a higher spiritual connection, a higher connection to our higher selves in alignment with spirit, God, universe, higher power. A lot of this energy or what we're going through right now may be catalytic in forcing us into that position, which could be represented by the Hermit here. Like maybe we're questioning everything so much that we really need to like go back to basics, recenter in, refocus, reconnect, and like figure out like where we're at before we can figure out where possibly like everything else is at right now. So that's what I got, you guys. I do think things are just weird out there though, and I think that they will continue to be generally strange. Let's get a synchronicity card now. God, Spirit, Universe. An additional piece of guidance or advice. What should we keep in mind? What do we need to know? What should we remind ourselves of as we move into this energy this week? Okay. It's so interesting because you guys saw all those cards that just came out. They're like all the reversals talking about, and with the Five of Swords there, it's like these mental conflicts. That could also be like arguments or disputes that are going on. There could be like verbal battles, mental battles, disputes that are going on over possessions, assets, projects, things that we've been creating as perhaps shifts and things are being shifted and rearranged in the context of, again, like 10 of Pentacles and the Empress, that like Taurus stuff after we've just gone through this Uranus full moon square that we had going on. So there could be some implications along those lines as well. But our cards have success and victory, you guys. So despite what may appear to be going on, or the confusion or the disorientation, or what we thought was happening seeming like it's not, and not sure if we can trust what's going on, this synchronicity card is saying success and victory. The desire of the righteous shall be granted, Proverbs 10:24. If you wish to lead a good life, you must have good thoughts. You are on your way. God is working for you. You can be assured of success and victory. So don't doubt the process. if anything, you know, if you find yourself caught up in some of this like mental confusion, whatever it is, perhaps taking the perspective as maybe like the passive observer of these experiences as opposed to the active participant in them may be beneficial, because it seems as though, you know, at the end of the day, things are going to be successful. Like, as long as we are staying focused, continuing to put in the work, like keeping our eye on the prize, not being distracted by the crazy emotions that are throwing us off course, not participating in this black moon, self-sabotaging stuff that can be coming up, like, we're moving in the right direction. We are, you know, things are changing for the better. There are going to be successful outcomes here. So despite how things may be presenting right now, or again, the lack of clarity that could be associated with whatever's going on, our memo, our divine memo here is success and victory. So I'm gonna stick with that. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. Message from the stars, message from the cards. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys, share it with your friends if you think that they also would enjoy this type of astrology content. Leave me comments. I'm so grateful for your presence on my channel, you guys. I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for your comments and your perspectives on stuff, and for letting me know what's going on with you. As I always say, I really appreciate and value when you tell me your experiences, especially when they're lining up with what I'm talking about as these energies come through. So again, thank you guys so much. I really, again, value and appreciate you. And if you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group linked in my description box where I post images of those boards. And come back with me on Wednesday. You guys, Wednesday, I will say, is probably our most interesting day of this week. I actually don't remember exactly why in this moment, but when I was looking at the charts for the videos this week, I made a special note in my mind that, like, oh, Wednesday is the most interesting. Oh, it's because, this is why, it's because the moon is going to be in Scorpio, and it's going to be forming an exact opposition to Uranus and a trine to Saturn and Mars. So we're gonna have a grand trine in water signs that goes on Wednesday, while the moon exactly opposes Uranus. So this could be a very, again, like a kind of a unique, interesting, this is more of this like very psychic, very prophetic, like spiritual awakening type of energy. So we'll get there. That's what's coming up next. I'll be back to talk all about it. You should come back too. You don't want to miss that one. And I'll see you next time, you guys. Have a beautiful introduction to your week. And until Wednesday, bye.